Okay, welcome to Flashback Monday. Not so flashback. I miss my romantic time book review magazine so bad. But we are up to November 2016, and welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy schmancy stuff going on here. And please hit the thumbs up and the subscribe. I had somebody tell me that I had no business doing these podcasts, that it wasn't for me. I enjoy them. I hope you enjoy them. Hey, D. Louise book series, if then. It's better than Googling. It'll save you a tremendous amount of time. If you're looking for a lawyer, a homicide, Scotland Yard, vampires, dragons, regencies, all different kinds, Native American authors. And I'm going to do another one of those because I found some more books. Books that make you swoon, Dog Days of Summer, Cozy Mystery Thanksgiving, Cozy Mystery Christmas, Cozy Mystery Easter, Cozy Mystery 4th of July. They're all out there. Investigative reporters, homicides, forensics. We're going to do more of those this year too. But just stick it out with me. And, thank you all for tuning in. I'm most appreciative. So we'll get through the first, and a person forgot her glasses. A person's gonna need to change the toner cartridge soon. Not doing very well at printers this week. So, first book, Allison Brennan, The Lost Girls. Book 11 in the Lucy Kincaid series. I'm trying to gather these up to get these for the series. Photojournalist Saban Walsh has been searching for two sisters who disappeared 2 years ago in Mexico. So when she received a call from a priest in Texas about an abandoned baby holding a locket with her name, she calls her friends and the FBI for help. The infant obviously belongs to one of the sisters, but how did it end up in Texas, and why was she abandoned? The Lost Girls, Lucy Kincaid and her mentor, supervisor Special Agent Noah Armstrong, track the missing girls and uncover a human trafficking organization that leads to a seedy underworld in which nothing is as it seems. The bad guys seem to stay 2 steps ahead of them, leaving behind a trail of dead bodies, and Lucy has more questions. My gal Laurie Foster, back there, she was doing some regencies there for a while. And then she's got a few contemporary romances that I enjoy. Simon and Clint, those bunch. But then she went for the boxing situation. Don't know why. I did a video the other day. This guy might have worked in it. If you checked out the January new construction video, this one would have fit in good. Built for Love, Laurie Foster. Contractor Jesse Baker knows all about knocking down walls, but chipping away at Tanya Bloom's defenses has been tougher than he expected. The gorgeous blonde has made it clear that she doesn't have room in her life for romance. So what is it about her that makes Jesse determined to prove her wrong? Realtor Tanya is an expert on houses, building homes, and family. For her newly orphaned nephew Kevin is a challenge she never expected. And while Jesse may be a shoulder to lean on, he's also a distraction she can't afford. She doesn't want to give her heart up. Karen Harper, Chasing Shadows. Every case that Claire Britton cracks is a win, not only professionally but personally. The forensic psychologist has a lifetime fighting a neurological disorder. Her ability to conquer it is a testament to her razor-sharp intuition. Nick Mark is used to winning the courtroom, so when his latest case is overthrown by Claire's expert testimony, he can't help being impressed by her skill. He needs her on the team of his passion project investigating unusual cases involving mysterious death. Her condition doesn't deter him, and neither does the attraction which sparks between them. As they join forces to investigate a murder in St. Augustine, Florida, Claire is thrust into a situation for more danger than she anticipated, pushing her disorder to a breaking point. Just when she fears she can't trust her own mind, she discovers Nick's personal connection to the case. Valerie Bowman, the legendary Lord. Um, when Christian Forrester, Viscount Berkeley, flees the stuffy ballrooms of London for his Scottish hunting lodge, the last thing he expects to find ensconced before his fire is an incredibly beautiful woman. But the plight of the lovely young Sarah Highgate, who has run away from an unwanted betrothal, inspires an eminent practical exchange. He'll safeguard her reputation while she advises him how to attract the proper bride. Oh, BS. You know how many books do this? You know how many regencies? You know what? I gotta go. I started a list last year, and I have to go back to it. I need to save this one. Um, could you show me how to find? I'll do this favor for you. If you help me find a bride, and it ends up being those two. So I need to save this one. Uh, um, help me find bride. I need to find. I have a whole list of these. I need to do. I need to do that again. Um, not quite a Scot. Jace Maynard. Mackenzie Taylor is high maintenance when it comes to fashion, but when he comes to travel, the socialite prefers privacy to parties and her own space to hotels. After she and her friends arrive in Scotland and split up to pursue their own adventures, she rents a small cottage on the side Isle of Skye. On day 2, she crashes her rental car, but a hero emerges from the mist to rescue her. He's healthy, earthy, funny, and long before making her feel desirable, not to mention desirous. There's just one problem. Mackenzie's Highlander dreamboat is in a motorcycle riding American. So, after she and her friends arrive in Scotland, why didn't they all get a hotel together or a group of houses together so they could all do their own, or a B&B, so all do their own things but then hook up at night? But she went totally, absolutely off the rails. That just isn't. That doesn't sound right. So she goes to the group, but then does her entire solo thing and doesn't meet up with the group for even a dinner. Finley Craig knows his cute new tourist friend is stubbornly set on falling for a Scotsman, but he's just as set on her falling for him. So he plans to give her a taste of what she thinks she wants because Finley suspects Mackenzie isn't as shallow as she appears. Okay. Ellie Kennedy ruled the Outlaw series. Despite his magnetism, Rylan can't seem to seduce Reese, the deadly leader of their town of outlaws. Winning her over is a welcome challenge, but her indifference isn't the only thing standing in his way. If he wants Reese, Rylan must also win over Sloane, her stoic protector. Sloane has always loved Reese, but their painful past has stolen his chances of a future with her. Ryland's interest in Reese only intensifies the tension until Sloane begins to wonder if the reckless man might be the one person who can bridge the distance. See what happens there. Vicki Lewis Thompson, Cowboy Unwrapped. For cowboy and fighter Jake Ramsey, Christmas at Thunder Mountain Ranch is all about family, food, and celebration. Okay, and maybe a chance to run into his high school sweetheart swinger, Amethyst Ferguson. 6 months ago, they had a scorching hot, wild reunion, and this cowboy can't wait for another chance to play with fire. Now their sexual attraction is insatiable, 5-alarm blaze that's only grown more addictive, but Amethyst has a career dreams that don't include Jackson Hole, Wyoming, or a relationship. Can he talk her into it? Deborah Webb, Investigating Christmas. When the woman who left him comes back, desperate for help, sexy billionaire Rush Grayson is thrilled. He still wants and needs Lucy Gaines, but Lucy only needs his professional help to rescue her abducted sister and nephew. The strong-willed, independent woman thinks she's over Rush. She'd never be foolish enough to fall for a man incapable of love. But as Rush and Lucy begin a harrowing race against time to free her family, the flames between them catch. Whatever. Hi. The last picture. Hold Me Cowboy, Macy Yates. Oil and water have nothing on Sam McCormick and Madison West. The wealthy rancher has never met a haughtier or more appealing woman in his life. And when they're snowed in, he's forced to admit the Ice Queen can scorch him with one touch. Madison has plans for the weekend. Instead, she's stranded with a man who drives her wild. A night of no strings fun leaves them both wanting more. Will she accept his proposal? See what happens. There's a candle back there. Sorry. Alright, let's see. Sabrina Jeffries. The Danger of Desire. To root out the card sheet responsible for her brother's death, Mysteria Trevor spends her evenings dancing her way through high society balls and late nights disguised as young man gambling her way through London's gambling hells. Then handsome Rory Cora, the Marquise of Knightford, a notorious member of St. George Club, recognizes her as the witty friend of his cousin. When he threatens to reveal her secret, she's determined to keep him from ruining her plans, even if it means playing a cat and mouse game with the and Raquel. See what happens. Uh, Bailey Jones somehow survived her harrowing abduction by the infamous Death Angel. But while her physical scars have healed, she can't stop wondering about a woman she helped escape, who simply disappeared. When Lost Agent Asher Young is assigned to her case, Bailey instantly feels an attraction to the intense ex-SEAL who seems to be carrying dark secrets of his own. Asher can't afford to let his growing feelings for Bailey distract him from his job. Only she can soothe his horrific nightmares, but the first thing he wants is for the demons from his past to ever hurt her. Bailey has gotten past his guards, and the emotion he feels for her, they're as dark and dangerous as the past he doesn't want to face. See what happens. Sandra Hill, Good Vampires Go to Heaven. A naked guy on the cover. 2,000-year-old vampire demon Zeb is supposed to spend eternity turning mortal sinners into bad guys, Lucifers like himself. That way they can grow their numbers and fight the vampire angels known as Vangels. But Zeb is a bad boy in a good way, secretly working as a double agent for none other than Saint Michael, the Archangel, in hopes of one day earning his wings. Problem is, Zeb's betrayal is discovered. Hello, Demon Dungeon. Until Regina, a foxy flame-haired Vengel witch on a rescue mission, bursts out Zeb along with three oddball Lucifer witches. Hello, temptation. I don't get it. I don't get it. Uh, Nayli Singh. She did a lot of her and Mila Liu, Liu. There was like they took this series and one lady wrote book one wrote two, one wrote three, and I just couldn't get into it. One of the most vicious archangels in the world has disappeared. No one knows if Regina is dead or has chosen to sleep the long sleep of an immortal. But when her lands falling into chaos under a rising tide of vampiric bloodlust, a mysterious and ancient order of angels known as the Luminata calls the entire cadre together to discuss the fate of her territory. Accompanying her archangel's lover Raphael to the Luminata compound, Guild hunter turned angel Elena senses that all is not as it seems. Secrets echo from within the stony walls of the compound, and the deeper Elena goes, the uglier the darkness. naked guy on the cover. Don't you love him? Duke of Pleasure. In the arms of danger, bold, brave, brutal, the handsome Hugh Fitzroy, the Duke of Carlisle is the handsome king's secret weapon. Sent to defeat the notorious Lords of Chaos, he's ambushed in a London alley and rescued by an unlikely ally, a masked stranger with the unmistakable curves of a woman. Cocky, clever, courageous, independent, Alf has survived on the perilous streets of St. Giles by disguising her sex. By day, she's a boy dealing in information and secrets. By night, she's the notorious ghost of St. Giles, a masked vigilante. But as she saves Hugh from assassins, she finds herself succumbing to temptation. Naked guy on the cover. I'm gonna miss mass markets. Okay. Again. Naked guy on the cover. When Carly Reese's beloved fashion boutique catches fire, she sees her dreams go up in smoke. The good news is that Carly was saved from the flames by a barking dog nearby. She soon discovers the heroic Pooch is a trained canine who's guarding his unconscious partner, a gorgeous firefighter who ends up in Carly's arms. Noah Glover and his canine are fearless duo, and Noah has clearly met his match when the brave, beautiful Carly. Soon they team up to track down the arsonist behind the blast, a psychotic criminal who's intent on framing Noah, while the sparks between Noah and Carly could ignite a five-alarm fire. See what happens there. I should have saved that paper. If you caught my if then last the other day, a couple weeks ago, on construction, romance and construction, cozy mystery and contemporary romances construction, this was one of them. Between her booming business, her family, and her work rescuing stray animals, homestager Caprice DeLuca's life is packed. But when a murder unsettles peaceful Kismet, Pennsylvania, she adds amateur sleuths to her resume. Thanks to a wealthy patron, Kismet's women's shelter, Sunrise Tomorrow, has inherited a rundown mansion. Now the shelter's director, Wendy Newcomb, wants Caprice decorating's expertise. Caprice is happy to help, but when she glimpses a few heated encounters between Wednesday and some locals, she fears that Wendy may be in need of protection herself. When Wendy is found dead inside the old house, Caprice is compelled to poke around in her affairs and discovers that she had her share of enemies. Now, with countless clients, a TV gig that can make her a household name, and rumors of a marriage proposal on the way, can Caprice find the killer? See what happens. Karen Rainey, the Scottish Duke. Whenever I think of her, I think of Scottish. She does other stuff, and it just messes with my mind because she's a Scottish author to me. Though raised as a gentleman's daughter, Lorna Gordon is obliged to take a position as an upstairs maid at Blackhall Castle. When her father dies, Alex Russell, the Duke of Kinross, is most tempting man she's ever seen, and completely unattainable until a fancy dress ball. Lorna disguises herself as Marie Antoinette and pursues an illicit tryst with the scandalous consequences. Months after his mysterious seduction disappears, Alex encounters her again. Far from the shame of the distrustful Duke assumed her to be, Lorna is fiercely independent and resourceful, but she's the one woman capable of piercing his defenses. We also talked about this in the construction episode the other day. And I've been reading her bibliophile series. So I'm gonna I'm starting to collect these to see if I can get the whole series together. I like to get the first 5 or 6 together to start so I can do a binge read. This is book 4. Even during the holidays, Shannon is more sparkle than sparkle, which is why she leaps at the chance to transform a grand old Victorian mansion into 10 charming apartments for the homeless families. Filled with the spirit of the season, all of Lighthouse Cove turns out to help, including her best friends, a troupe of far from angelic Santa Claus impersonators, and her father, Jack. But their merriment is soon dashed by a heated scuffle between Jack and the miserly president of the bank who's backing the project. When the man is murdered, all eyes are on Jack, and visions of prison time dance in Shannon's head. Now she needs a miracle to clear her father. Ray and Shane, the holiday gift. Two kids and an active life, widow Faith Dunstan only wants peace and quiet for Christmas, but her snowy Pine Gulch ranch is nothing but chaotic. All that keeps Faith going is her helpful neighbor cowboy Chance Brace Brannon. He's always been good old Chase, her faithful friend until he kisses her under the mistletoe. I like the title. The Good, the Bad, and the Guacamole. Tex-Mex waitress and part-time reporter Josie Callahan is about to serve up some Lone Star justice in the spicy taste of Texas mystery from uh, tourists are pouring into the town of Broken Boot for the annual Homestead Days Music Festival. Opening the celebration at Two Boots Dance Hall is smooth-talking country singer Jeff Clark, the ex-boyfriend of Josie's best friend, Patty Perez. When the charming Clark woos Patty on stage in an attempt to rekindle some sparks with his old flame, Jose fears her friend will end up just one more notch on the guitar singer's belt. To impress her editor at Broken Boot Bugle, Josie and her chihuahua Lenny pursue the singer to Patty's house, hoping for an interview. Instead, they discover Clark face down in a bowl of guacamole with a bloody guitar at her side. Oops, his side, excuse me. Lorraine Heath, the Viscount and the Vixen. Love begets madness. Viscount Locksley watched it happen to his father after his cherished wife's death. But when his sire arranges to marry flame-haired fortune hunter Portia Gladstone, Locke is compelled to take drastic measures to stop the stunning beauty from taking advantage of the Marquise. A marriage of mutual pleasure will be convenient indeed, as long as convenient feelings don't interfere. Not good. All right. It's it either yeah, it came up last week or the week before. My Christine Feehan's reading order. Check it out. It turns out I have every last one of them. Amazing. Join with me as I take my inventory. With her own bakery in San Antonio, Evelyn Tegri made herself a new life far from the brutal layer of shifters she was born into. Though she is all too aware of her leopard shifter blood, she has kept secret the wild animal stirring inside her. That is until Alonzo Massey walks into a bakery. The powerful shifter is as irresistible as he is terrifying, but his icy demeanor tells her to keep her distance. Alonzo knows better than to let himself get involved with someone like Angeline. She doesn't deserve the type of danger that follows him, but I bet they're life mates. I know Miss Feehan, and we're going to be talking about her for January 2026. The love series is still ongoing, so check it out. And I read some of them a while back too. I did them for the videos. Anna Snow grew up in an orphanage in Bath, knowing nothing of the family she came from. Now she discovers the late Earl of Rivendell was her father, and she has inherited his fortune. She is also overjoyed to learn she has siblings. However, they want nothing to do with her or her attempts to share her new wealth. But the new Earl's guardian is interested in Anna. Avery Archer, Duke of Netherby, keeps others at a distance, yet something prompts him to aid Anna in her transition from orphan to lady. These are good. I remember these. These were really good. I give them 4 stars. Ah, Lawrence Block, Sinnerman. To escape punishment for a murder he didn't mean to commit, insurance man Don Barster has to take on a new identity. Nathaniel Crawley, ferocious up-and-comer in New York mob, but can he find safety in skin of another man or worse? Why would you want to hide in the mob? Do that later. Do that later. Do that later. Do that later. I have not read his books in a while. Have you heard of Pardon Me, You're Stepping on My Eyeball? Check it out. I should put that up if I can find it. Hey, Chrissy, put that up. Award-winning author Timothy Zahn pens the latest chapter in the stunning. Maybe it was someone else. Maybe I got the author confused. I won't put it up if I got it wrong. After nearly a decade of brutal warfare, 3 mighty factions, the emblematic Prontos, the Savage Surge, and the Terrain's humanity descendants into the sector have entered a ceasefire. But the peace is tenuous at best when the sudden restoration of an incarcerated planet is brought to light. Tensions erupt, neutrality swings back to hostility, and old enemies are accused of developing biological weapons to reignite the bitter conflict. An expedition of terrain and protest soldiers and researchers is deployed to investigate mysterious third planet and its inhabitants' intentions. I did not understand 1 ounce of that. Bernard Cornwell, the Flame Bearer. Britain is in a state of uneasy peace. Northumbria's Viking ruler Sig and Mercia's Queen Saxon Ethel have agreed on a truce, and so England's greatest warrior, Uhtred of Bamberg, at least has the chance to take back his home his traitorous uncle stole for him so many years ago, and which his shaming cousin still occupies. But fate is inexorable, and enemies Uhtred has made and the oaths he sworn conspire to distract him from his dream of recapturing his home. New enemies enter into the fight for England's kingdoms. The redoubled Constantine of Scotland seizes an opportunity for conquest and leads his army south. Britain's precarious peace threatens to turn into a war of annihilation. I didn't get that either. You had me going for a while until the other guy got involved. Michael Connolly, The Wrong Side of Goodbye. Harry Bosch is California's newest private investigator. He doesn't advertise, he doesn't have to have an office, and he's picky about who he works for. But it doesn't matter. His chops from 30 years with the LAPD speak for himself. Soon, one of the Southern California's biggest mogul comes calling. The reclusive billionaire is nearing the end of his life and is haunted by one regret. When he was young, he had a love affair with a Mexican girl, but not long after becoming pregnant, she disappeared. Did she have the baby, and if so, what happened? Desperate to know whether he has an heir, the dying magnate hires Bosch. With a vast fortune at stake, Harry realizes that his mission could be risky not only for himself, but for the one he's seeking. But as soon as he begins to uncover the haunting story and finds uncanny links to his own past, he knows he cannot rest until he learns the truth. Michael Connolly. This lady has been around forever. Danielle Steele, the award. Galie de Bad-Bet is 16 years old in 1940 when the German army occupies France and frightening changes begin to occur. She's shocked and powerless when French gendarmes take away her closest friend Rebecca Fieldman and her family for deportation to unknown ominous fate. The local German military commandant makes Gal's family estate outside Lyon his headquarters. Her father and brother are killed by the Germans. Her mother fades away into madness. Trusted friends and employees become traitors, and Galie begins a perilous journey with the French resistance, hoping to save lives to make up for the beloved friends she could do nothing for. Sad. The Inheritance, Charles Finch. Charles Lennox has received a cryptic plea for help from an old Harrow schoolmate, Gerald Lee, but when he looks into the matter, he finds that his friend has suddenly disappeared. As boys, they shared a secret. A bequest from a mysterious benefactor had smoothed Lee's way into the world after the death of his father. Lennox had already gripped by a passionate interest in detective work, made discovering the benefactor identity his first case, but he was never able to solve it. Now, years later, Lee has been the recipient of a second, even more generous bequest. Is it the same guy or is it a different guy? And what happened to his friend? Oops. The whole pile just landed on the floor. Jeffrey Archer. This Was a Man opens with a shot being fired, but who pulled the trigger and who lives and who dies. In Whitehall, Giles Barrington discovers the truth about his wife, Corin, from the cabinet secretary. Is she a spy or a pawn in a larger game? Harry Clifton sets out to write his magnum opus while his wife Emma completes her 10 years as chairman of the Bristol Royal Infirmary and receives an unexpected call from Margaret Thatcher offering her job. Sebastian Clifton becomes the chairman of the Farthing's Kaufman Bank, but only after Hakeem Bashim resigns for personal reasons. Sebastian and Samantha's talented daughter Jessica is expelled from school. Her Aunt Grace comes to her rescue. Meanwhile, Lady Virginia is about to flee the country to avoid her creditors when the Duke of Hertford dies and sees another opportunity to clear her debts and finally trump the Cliftons and the Barrings. There's a lot going on there. Suddenly dating. If only Lola Dunn had the time and the courage, she'd write her novel and maybe even start dating again. When her friend offers the use of her summer home overlooking Lake Haven, Lola sees the chance to focus on herself for a change and she eagerly accepts. Engineer Harry Westbrook is waiting for his ship to come in, but it's not happening soon enough for his girlfriend who's left him for good again. To nurse Harry's heartache, his pal extends an invite to take to his lake house in East Beach. When it turns out that Harry and Lola's friends are divorcing, not on speaking terms couple, sparring over the same house, they find themselves cohabitating. Brian Sanderson. Look at this thing. It's huge. Arcanium Unbounded. The Gossamer Collection. Brandon Sanderson creates worlds, and those worlds are linked. His universe spans the Stormlight Archive, the Mistborn series, and the Tale of Elantris. Now, for the first time anywhere, stories representing each of these planets and their fully realized and distinct magic systems have come together. So it's a collection of all of them. Hank Philip Orion. Say no more. Reporter Jane Ryland's entire career is based on discovering secrets, but turnabout is fair play when Jane witnesses a hit and run. It's her turn to provide information, and she does it with her trademark quick thinking, confidence, and skill. But she soon learns she saw more than a car crash. She witnessed the collapse of an alibi. Oops. Right. My gal. We've read all these. Lindsay, Sully, Beth, and the gang solve murder mysteries at the library. Check out my If Then Library Edition and my If Then Bookstore Edition. Got 'em all. Better late than never. When the Briar Creek Public Library holds its first overdue book amnesty day, no fines for late returns. The volume of incoming materials is more than Lindsay and her staff can handle. In a bind, Lindsay drafts the craft noon ladies to help check in and sort the stack of books. But one tome catches her attention, a copy of J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye, 20 years past due. When Lindsay hooks up the borrower, she's shocked to discover it was a murdered teacher named Candace Whitley whose killer was never found. So, if the Whitley died, who returned the book? I'm going to be doing this lady for February. You want some chocolate? I plan on doing these books for February and Valentine's. The Chocolate Bunny Brouhaha. Joanna Carl. Oh, it's the approach of Easter means a rush of business at Tennis Chocolate, and Lee and her Aunt Nettie need all the help they can get to make their famous chocolate bunnies. Unfortunately, new hire Bunny Birdsong is a klutz basket case, dropping everything she picks up, but to Lee's surprise, she's a whiz with computers and fixing the store's website, so they decide to keep her. However, Bunny receives a few visitors that could do without her soon-to-be ex-husband Beau, his wealthy Aunt Abigail, and his new girlfriend and her brothers all descending on the shop one day, have a bitter argument. Lee hopes they can find a peaceful way to settle their dispute and not bring any more trouble to Tannhurst. But when Abigail's body is discovered in the vacant store next door, there's something going on. Alright. You know, she was a good author. She's the lady that started it all. Because without this lady, you wouldn't have all these other ladies. I truly believe that she didn't open the door. Laura Clay Hamilton came after her and opened the door even greater. Laurel Kay's books are fantastic. I have talked about them many times. If Then Vampires, I've talked about I Need a Break. I've gone through all the books on my website, on the videos. So Guilty Pleasures, Laughing Corpse, all of them, even the comic books, we've done them all. But this particular lady, I don't know what she was thinking, although Alyssa Day and it's either Shiloh Walker or Gina Showalter. It's one of those two. I know it's Alyssa Day. But I'm not sure. It's either Showalter. I think it's Showalter. Whoever thought that Vampires in Atlantis was a good idea? Don't know. But it happened. Don't know. At the novel's center, the vampire Lestat lie in court. Hero, leader, inspire, irresistible force, irresistible spirit, battling a strange other world form that has taken possession of his undead body and soul. The ancient and mysterious power and unearthly spirit of the vampire lore has all the force, history, and insidious reach of the unknown universe. It is through the spirit considered benign for thousands of years, and through the vampire council that we come to be the hypnotic tale of a great sea power of ancient times, a mysterious heaven on earth situated on a boundless continent, of how and why and in what manner and with far-reaching purpose this force has come to build and rule the legendary empire of centuries ago. You see what I'm saying? It's just... Okay. We've done all these books. In fact, the last book is sitting on my to-be-read table, and it's been sitting there forever. I really need to get to it. But anyway, Alex Cross and Samson crossed the line. After shots pierce the nightmare tranquil of Rock Creek Park, a man is dead. What looks at first like a road rage might be something much more sinister. But Alex has only begun asking questions when he's called across town to investigate a new murder, one that hits close to home. Washington's own chief of detectives and Alex's former boss, beloved mentor of Alex's wife, Bree. Now there's a killer on the loose, a long list of possible suspects, a city in panic, and nobody in charge of the besieged police force until Bree gets tapped for the job. As Bree scrambles to find her footing and close two high-profile cases, new violence stuns the capital, but what should be a time for her to rely on Alex for support and cooperation is instead a moment of crisis in her marriage as well as the city when their investigation instincts clash and the relationships reach a breaking point. Yeah, BS. They're good. They're still good now. They go through stuff. And I thought we would end on a Christmas note. 'Tis the season. Or it is for me, anyway. Van Spispa is enchanted by the exotic landscape of Palestine and charmed by a fellow traveler Naways. Meet at the hotel in Jaffa, but when the man is murdered over a torn piece of ancient parchment he was taking to Jerusalem, Victor and Faspa risk their lives to finish his mission and deliver the puzzling document to its home. Christmas message. And that is the end of November 2016. Good Lord. I miss my RT book review magazines, but we're getting it done. We're going to go on forward from here. Have a good Flashback Monday, because that's what it was. It's flashing back. Have a good one.